I love Bruichladdich, especially their entry-level scotch. It's a wee scotch they call the Classic Laddie. Bruichladdich comes from the Scottish Gaelic and the village where the distillery is physically located. And every Scot watching this, which is probably not many, but anyway, is collectively shaking their head. It's just such a stereotypical name that has been given to something that's anything but stereotypical. So today we're going to have a look at the Classic Laddie. This is Whisky. I'm John Chidgey. Feel free to like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and visit engineer.network/whisky without an E to learn how you can support the show. Thank you. I've been a whiskey drinker for years, but I only really tried to understand it more recently. The more I learned about it, the more I realized just how much I didn't know. This is my journey to better understand this ever-evolving and big wide world of whiskey, however you want to spell it. The Classic Laddie is considered to be one of Bruichladdich core whiskies. It's a 50% ABV, it's not chill filtered, and it's not coloured. It's made from 100% Scottish barley, it's trickle distilled, and the distillery is an Islay. That is pronounced Islay, not Islay, although it's spelled I-S-L-A-Y, but Islay whiskies have a reputation for being slightly salty and peated. This is neither. And it's not like Bruichladdich don't have peated, briny whiskies, because they do. But the Classic Laddie is meant to allow, and I'll quote, meant to allow you to taste more of the Scottish malt we have worked hard to trace. Anyway, and they admit that it will vary from batch to batch. You can even enter the code on the side of your specific bottle on their website to tell you the composition of the bottle. This is what the website shows you. So for my bottle, my numbers are 23/031, which the website tells me was bottled in 2023. And it was a vatting of 80 casks, that's 80, 4 vintages, 7 barley types, and 15 different cask types. And then it goes on to list every single one of them, including 12 American bourbon barrel first fills, and 2 American bourbon barrel first fills, and then French Bordeaux Pomerol or Merlot hogshead second fills. Wowzers. Okay, that's a lot. What I love about this distillery is they truly flex their muscles in making scotches of every kind, rather than sticking to a script. You're an Islay, because you're physically an Islay, so let's make a typical Islay whiskey. And they're like, nah. It varies from batch to batch, but if you want to know what's in it, there you go. Not only that, they pride themselves on sourcing organically grown barley, and they also sell this bottle in an aquamarine bluish opaque finish. So you don't have to have a secondary package around it, like it doesn't go in a box or a cylinder to protect the whiskey from sunlight. The Laddie is quite an interesting dram, to be honest. Actually, while I think about it, I've wondered about that expression, dram, what it actually means. Like, whiskey lovers will say things like, that's a nice dram. But dram is actually a unit of measure. A fluid dram is 1/8 of a fluid ounce, but is generally equivocated with a single shot. In metric, a shot is 30 mils of liquid, sometimes called a nip or a standard. A half is therefore 15 mils, and a double is therefore double that, at 60 mils. Now, because a dram can refer to either US or non-US imperial, because of course they're different, it's either 25 mils or 35 mils. Which kind of averages out to about 30 mils. So in the end, let's just agree that a dram is a shot, and we'll leave it there. I did also come across something I thought was truly bizarre last month while listening to an American podcast about whiskey. In it, they mentioned a 3-finger pour, which, when I looked into it, means the depth of whiskey in a standard whiskey glass when you hold 3 fingers beside the glass. For an average person with average hands, it should be roughly the volume of a double. Funnily enough, the term came from way back 100 years ago or more, when bartenders wouldn't measure precisely the amount of alcohol they poured, and instead they used their fingers to estimate it instead. Now, interestingly, and probably because they measured from the bar top, the bar top, not the bottom, so your bar here and your glass, so they're measuring probably from the bar top. There's no such thing as a single finger pour, but there is a 2-finger pour, but no 1-finger pour. Anyway, obvious problem. Very obvious problem with this method. Bartenders with smaller hands, and therefore smaller fingers, are going to rip you off. So you would seek out those bartenders with the thicker fingers, I guess? I don't know. Either way, thankfully, that terminology has died. Like many imperial measures, it's based on something that isn't easily repeatable and varies over time and from person to person. Oh well, it's pretty cool terminology though when you think about it. Kind of like it, but anyway, that's what that is. Interesting. So when I'm measuring out a whiskey, I have myself this little number. So on the top side is a half, and this is a standard. So 30 mils and 15 mils. Comes in very handy. The Bruichladdich website describes their Classic Laddie like this. Colour is summer barley. I didn't realise that was a colour, but sure thing. Why not? Nose, barley sugar and a hint of mint open before moving into freshly cut wildflowers, buttercup, daisy, meadowsweet, myrtle, primrose and cherry blossom. That's a lot. Anyway, delicate zephyrs of spindrift. Zephyrs of spindrift, people. Oh yeah. Anyway, and sea pinks. I don't actually know what sea pinks are a reminder that this spirit is matured exclusively beside the sea. Over time, with the addition of a little water, caramelized fruit notes come to the fore, with a hint of lemon drops, honey, tangerine, and tablet. Seriously, that's what it says on the website. Okay, well, in any case, that's great. I'm happy they're happy. That's great. I mean, just on the color for a second, if you can see that, it's a very light straw color, very light. I wouldn't call that summer blossom or whatever the heck it was, but, I'd go with straw. But that's okay. Color isn't everything. Anyway, moving on. They then say on the website about the taste, they say it's refined and refreshing. Sweet oak and barley notes come together in perfect harmony. Ripe green fruits, brown sugar, and sweet malt follow, showcasing the remarkable flavour of the Scottish barley used in this single malt. The finish is smooth and well-rounded. The finish showcases an elegant balance between the sprightly, vibrant fruit and the subtle sea spray notes. These website descriptions, I swear to God. Anyway, never mind. So let's see what we got on the nose for me. Actually, let's look at the legs first. There's a couple of legs there. Pretty fast running. Anyway, so on the nose, I definitely get barley sugar. You can definitely smell barley sugar. It's just it smells delightfully sweet. Definitely a bit of honey. It's delightful. Don't know about the zephyrs of whatever it was. Hang on, let's see what it tastes like. Okay, that's... Whoa. This is 50% ABV. So it's got a little bit of kick. But that malt on there is very distinct. And it's got a beautiful... It's got a pleasant burn to it. Like, I would have expected a higher ABV to burn a lot more than that. But it's quite pleasant. It's not that harsh, actually. And it's got a very velvety, delightful mouthfeel. Kind of hugs my tongue, you know? It's really nice. I'll have another go at it. So I wouldn't say it's got a long finish, maybe a medium sort of a finish, and it's smooth, you know, but it's simple and it's pleasant. I wouldn't describe this as being complex at all. It's quite a straightforward whiskey, but it is delightful. It's light and it's refreshing. It's not at all what I would have expected, to be honest, and that makes it a fascinating. It makes it an absolutely fascinating Scotch. Smells delightful. It's not a complicated whiskey. And sometimes that's what you want. Sometimes you don't want to have something that you can dissect a finish of after 5 minutes time. Sometimes it's just delightful and fresh and light. It's not bad. Now, the story behind this specific whiskey for me was it was recommended by a local whiskey tuber called the Whisky Scribe, who also runs one of the septs of the Brisbane Malt Whisky Society. In this video, I didn't seek it out specifically, but when I was stuck in Phoenix Sky Harbour's United Lounge for nearly 6 hours waiting for my flight to San Francisco, I spotted it on the back bar shelf, and I had to give it a shot while I was there. Now, the thing is, I liked it so much that when I go home, I grab myself a bottle of my own. And, honestly, I haven't really regretted it yet. And with that, cheers. See you next time. That 50%'s it's decent. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad.